Now on BBC Learning Zone, humanists, atheists and agnostics, an introduction to the fascinating range of non-religious people and their beliefs.
Time, not so long ago, when Christian churches like this one dominated the skylines of Britain's towns and cities, just as religion dominated the thinking and imagination of its citizens. But not any longer. Today, in many places, the church steeples have been overtaken by the skyscrapers, and a religious view of the world has given way to something very different. It's not that churches and chapels have died out, of course. There are still plenty of them, and they've been joined by many other kinds of religious buildings. But in Britain, as in many other Western societies, religion has become less important in public life. The Christian church is no longer at the centre of community life. It now has to take its place alongside all kinds of other institutions and beliefs, religious and non-religious. We've become a secular society. Many religious people think that a secular society is a good thing because it offers freedom and choice to everybody, no matter what you think or believe. But in this programme, we're going to explore the ideas of a group of people who describe themselves as secular in a deeper sense than that. They're secular in the sense that they choose to live their lives without any reference to God or the supernatural or the teachings of any of the religions. I'm one of those fully secular people. I call myself an atheist, someone who doesn't believe in God. Now, I know that the word atheist conjures up dark and sinister images for some people. It did once for me. For centuries, atheists were viewed as evil and immoral, people who denied God and were against all notions of meaning and goodness in the world. But I think this is a mistake. Atheism needn't be bleak and negative. It's not just about being against God and religion. It can be really positive, having a set of beliefs and values which enable me and many others to live happy, moral and meaningful lives. As we'll see, secular believers use a number of terms to describe their outlook. But what they have in common is a worldview in which God and religion play no part, and in which human beings have to work things out for themselves.
I call myself an atheist. That doesn't mean that I can prove that there's no God. It means that I place God in the same category as all the other things that nobody can prove, like fairies.
Atheists do not accept that there are ghosts, that there is an afterlife, that there is a before life, that there are miracles, heaven, souls, hell, damnation, all that stuff.
Sometimes I call myself agnostic because I don't know for sure that there's no God. I don't think there is, but part of my belief is to allow that other people might be right and me wrong. I don't want to be intolerant of people who think there is a God.
I doubt that God exists. Some agnostics tend to believe more that perhaps God exists, but all agnostics are united in disbelieving any particular religion like Christianity or Islam.
The overarching word that I would use most often, because I think it best describes my worldview, is humanist. And I'm happy to call myself a humanist because it does have not just this negative element of what I don't believe in, but it focuses on what I do believe in, which is that there are good human reasons for trying to live a good life.
I don't believe in God, you know, that concept. That's not very important. For me, the important thing is that human beings, they live together, they work together, and they love each other.
The word I like to describe myself is a free thinker. I'm like that because I have a tendency to use rational thought rather than standing around with my hands clasped together looking for divine intervention in my day-to-day problems.
We don't believe in dogma. That is the main issue. We don't believe in religious dogmas, but as well as even political dogmas. We are not linked to any political party, and we're free to think whatever we like, and we stand for freedom.
In America, the word atheist is a dirty word. It isn't in this country. You can be perfectly respectable as an atheist in this country. You can be elected to Parliament as an atheist. You couldn't in the 19th century, but you can today. In America, you can't. And so there's been various attempts to redefine atheist in America. And the word bright has been coined by analogy with gay, because there was a time when gay meant something different from homosexual. And the homosexual community very successfully, as it were, hijacked the word gay and turned it into, because it's a very nice sounding word and everybody wants to be gay in the original sense. So the brights in America tried to hijack the word bright to mean atheist. And I like it, and I put my name down for it.
In the history of secular beliefs and in the rise of modern atheism, no country is more important than France, and no city is more important than Paris. The French Revolution, which began here in 1789, really marks the beginning of a new period of human thinking about God and religion. Most historians think that this book, Système de la Nature, The System of Nature, was the first openly atheist work. It was first published in 1770 and it's still being printed in modern editions in France, like this one. People referred to it as the atheist's Bible. Up until this time, it was simply too dangerous to say publicly, "I don't believe in God." For centuries, people accused of atheism were severely punished or even put to death. And even in 1770, the writer of The System of Nature felt that he had to publish it anonymously. He couldn't risk putting his name on the cover. But he was a well-known figure on the Paris social scene, a man by the name of Baron Pierre d'Holbach. And very soon, his ideas were the talk of the town. Baron d'Holbach lived in a house on this road, the Rue Royale. He was very wealthy, famous for the glittering dinner parties he used to throw for the leading writers and thinkers of France, the philosophes as they were known. They'd gather in his home and over a very good meal, no doubt, discuss the new and radical ideas that people like him were putting forward. That this book was written by a Frenchman is no coincidence, for France in the 18th century was a ferment of revolutionary ideas, and at the heart of them was a bitter protest about the ancient power of the Church. The Church had been closely linked to the royal family of France for generations, and both were judged to be corrupt, more concerned with their own wealth and status than with the plight of the poor, ordinary citizen. This rebellion against the Church culminated in the French Revolution. One of the most important events in the French Revolution, the storming of the Bastille, happened right here on July the 14th, 1789. This was the site of the notorious Bastille prison, a symbol of the corrupt power and brutality of the French king, who was aided and abetted by the Church.
The Catholic Church was part of the privileged classes, and that is why when we overthrew everything, and all the privileged classes, well, we had to overthrow the power of